Hi guys, so welcome back to our tutorials. In today's tutorial, we are going to create this food card. So this one is like for a restaurant selling some burgers. So let's create these using HTML and CSS. So to get started, we do have an empty HTML template, and then we also have a blank style.css file. So the very first thing we do is we link the CSS to the document. And then the next thing we do is to go live. So we go live by using the live server extension. This is something I've showed countless times. So you can just go to your extensions tab here and search for live server. And then when that extension shows up, click it and install it. And on the bottom of your Visual Studio Code, you can see an option to go live. So something else you might realize is this burger image. So if you need this exact burger image I'm using, you can get it in my GitHub repository. So you can just go to github.com/techwithtwin/tiktok-projects and look for a project called foodcard v1. And then this burger image, you can just click on that and download it. So this is the burger image PNG. Just download it. All right, so I'm going to drag that image here, and that's the image you are going to use. It's called food burger. And let's start styling. So to get started, you can see we are inside something like a card. So you just let's wrap everything inside a card. So card, and then you can see we have a wish list icon here, and we also have the burger. So what I'm thinking is to add this burger inside a wrapper div, and then that wrapper div will still contain this icon instead of having the icon to be contained inside the card. What we can do is that we can create a div with the class of image wrapper. Then inside the image, let's first add the image itself. So it's source burger image. The alt, we can just say burger image. All right. And then you also need some icons. So to get some icons, we're going to use font awesome. Okay, we're going to use font awesome. Let me show you. So just go to fontawesome.com and then let's search for like or heart. I think it's heart. Heart. All right, you can see we have hearts, but you want an open heart. This is the icon we want. Let's copy it. So copy the link you are given there, the HTML link. And then let's go back to our image wrapper. Let's add that icon there. Something else you might realize, we need to embed Font Awesome's CDN link so that we can access these icons. Because right now the icon can't show. So how we do it is we go to Font Awesome CDN. So we go to the cdnjs.com/libraries/Font Awesome. You can just search in the browser cdnjs Font Awesome. Let me show you. cdnjs Font Awesome. Just like that, you'll still find the same link. So this is the link, and then this is what we want to copy. Copy this link. Don't copy the URL, just copy the link. And then this link, we are going to embed it to the head of the body, at the head of the document, just like that. And then that's it. So if we go back, you can see now the image is too huge, but you can see the like icon is here. The next thing, let's make this image a bit smaller. We are going to resize it from the document itself instead of using CSS. And then we can say width 300. And then you can see the width is now in an acceptable. The size is acceptable. And then let's continue styling this. So the next thing we are going to add is the ratings. So these are the ratings. Just create a new div inside the card. .ratings. Inside the rating, we are going to have these stars. 4 of them will be filled. 1 of them will be empty. So we go back to Font Awesome. Go back to search. And then here let's search for rating. So the rating, you can see we have this field, we want 4 of them. So just going to copy one of them, paste it, and then copy this down 3 times. So 1, 2, 3. And then you also want an open star. So the open star, here it is. Just copy this. And then let's copy the link. Let's go back and add that there. All right, we are moving forward. The next thing, let's add this spicy burger heading. So we're just going to add a heading level 2 and say spicy burger. Then next, let's add the text that follows. The text is get a 20% discount on first order. All right, and then the next one, we want to add this price. This is just a text, so we can just say P and then $10.90. All right, the next one is this bottom section. The bottom section has this eye icon. Let's go back to Font Awesome. Then let's search for I. So we just say I like that. All right, and we see the I there. Let's copy it. Copy that. Go back, and then you can see this I has some background. So you're going to create a div here and say dot actions, because you can still see they have a different layout. We are going to display them side by side. And then the first one, let's wrap it inside a div and then paste the icon so that we can add the icon's background. So we need to wrap it inside a div. And then the right hand side, we have the button. So we just create a button, and then we need a basket, a shopping cart basket. So let's go back here and look for a basket. So just search basket. This is the basket we want. Copy it. Okay, after copying the basket, let's go back and paste it here. Then after pasting that, let's add a paragraph and say add to cart. I think we are done with the HTML. Now what's remaining is the CSS. So if you go back here, you can see we have a very shady layout, but we are going to fix that. Something else you might notice on the finished version, we have 2 fonts. So you have these fonts that is being used on the heading and the other fonts. So let's head over to fonts.google.com. And then inside that font, we are going to use the Roboto font. So let's search for Roboto font, Roboto font. Then on the bottom, you'll see a button that says get font, then get embed code. Okay, we have the Roboto. We also have another font, so you can go back. If you don't have that font, you can just go back to Google Fonts. After adding the Roboto, let's search for Lobster. Lobster. Okay, not lobby. Lobster. This is the Lobster. So just copy, get this new font, get embed code, and now you have 2 fonts, the Roboto font and the Lobster font. Now go to the import, copy this import. We are embedding 2 fonts because we have 2. Then let's go back. Let's add the default CSS styles. So we remove margins on every element, paddings 0, and a box sizing border box. These are just default HTML and default CSS styles to make sure that your CSS looks as you expect. Let's also grab the body. And inside the body, we're just going to add a padding. You can see everything is too close to the edges. So we add a padding of 2 rem. Save that. You can see now we get some breathing room. And then you want to place this card in the middle. So you say display flex. And then justify content. center. All right. The next thing, let's go now and start. Let's add a background color to the body. Even if it's white, let's add it as white, because if we just leave it as the browser default, then if someone is using a dark mode and then it gets to a dark mode and our website should be in white mode, then you get some issues. So it's good to be explicit. Then the font family we specify now, we want Roboto font and then sans serif as the fallback. You can see now everything gets to the Roboto font. Now let's grab the card. So we give it a card class. You can give it any class you want. This is just, we can even say cow here. It's still the same thing. Then when you're coming to select it, you use cow. I saw some comment, someone saying, why do we always use a card? Because it's a card, but you can still use anything you want. So even if I say cow, it will still work. I think we can stick with cow for this tutorial. So on our cow div, so we want to add some box shadow. So there is box shadow. There is some website that has predefined box shadows. So our job is just to copy them. So it's called CSS scan. And the URL is getcssscans.com/CSS box shadow examples. And then let's look for box shadow that we would like to use. Let's use this one. I think this one or this one. This one is not too much shouting. Click on copy and then paste that in our CSS. And then if we go back, you can see now our cow has some box shadows. The next thing you can see now, all these elements are too close to the edges of the card. So let's add a padding of 1 rem. So I hope whoever asked the question about using the card has understood. So I don't want to stick with a cow. Let's stick to our card, because if another developer is working on this and finds a cow, doesn't know what that means, and then we can save that. The next thing you can see in the finished version, everything is placed to the center. So we're just going to place everything to the center using flexbox. So we can say display flex direction of column. We want it to be column, and align items to the center. All right, everything is well. And then let's add some gaps here. So we can say gap of 0.35 rem. All right, I think that looks nice. So the next thing we need to work on is, let's first work on this layout. This is the actions div. So we can say actions, display flex here. Okay, they are displayed flex, and then we want one to be in this side and the other one to be this side. So we use a property that is called justify the content space between. So the space between should give equal spaces to all the elements. Okay. Yeah. So, but let's see why it's not showing up. So we gave this a class of actions, and then this one should work. So let's go and see dot actions display flex. Let's add a background color here. Just debugging now. You can see it is not taking up the full width. That's why it cannot justify the content. So we can say with 100%. Then now we achieve our desired layout. And then let's align these items to the center. Let's say align items to the center. The next thing is that this basket and the text should be aligned side by side. So let's grab the actions and then the button and then display them flex as well. So we can say dot actions button, then display flex, line items to the center like that. Then you can see it. So before we forget on the button, let's style the button. What we can do now is to add a background color of transparent. And then let's add some padding. So we can say padding 5 pixels, 10 pixels. So this is padding vertical, padding horizontal. Then you can see it, it looks nice. Let's add some border radius to it. A radius of 5 pixels. right? And then you can see this color is not the exact color we're using here, and the width of the border. So you're just going to say border 1.5 pixels, solid RGB 203 21 21. You can just play around with the colors and find the color you would like. This one is RGB, not. Now you can see it looks nice. Let's go to the wrapper icon. We need to target this div and style it. So you can see this div is the direct child of the actions, and we don't have any other div. So we can just say dot actions direct child, which is a div, and give it a background color of hash E9 E9 E9. And then you can see it. And then let's add some paddings so that we can see it. Padding should be 0.3 rem. All right. And then let's add some border radius. We want it to be circular, so we just use 50%. All right. So that looks a bit nice. Now let's target these ratings. So we can go back to the HTML, and we want some of these to be filled. So we can just say filled on 4 of them. Add a new class. And then let's target the filled ones and just say dot filled, and then a color of hash FED149. All right, that does the job. And yeah, that does the job. So the next thing we need to style is the wish list icon. So let's go and give it a class of wish list. So this one, we don't want to mess with the font awesome classes. Wish list icon, just give it a new class. And then let's now target the image wrapper and say dot image wrapper position of relative, so that now the wish list icon can be positioned absolute to this image wrapper. So we can say dot wish list icon and then position absolute. You can see it. And then let's give it a top of 0 and then a right of 0. All right, you can see it. It looks nice. All right, let's also give it a color of gray. I think gray looks nice. Then let's make it a little bit bigger. So we can say font size 1.4 rem. All right, you can see the wish list now looks nice. The next thing, let's work on the spicy burger heading. How can we track that heading? It's the card. We grab the card and then the heading level 2. So we can say dot card and then heading level 2, font family is lobster. The fallback sans serif. All right, you can see now the font changes. Let's now work on this text. This is a direct child paragraph, but we can give it a class, then say class is summary. So then we can go back here and say dot summary. Let's make the color gray, and then let's can see it, and then let's reduce the font size 0.8 rem. I think that is a bit small, so let's do 0.9. I think that's okay. Then let's work on this price. We give it a class of price. So this is the class. Now let's give it a class of price. And then if you go back here, we target the dot price. The color should be red. All right, let's increase the font size of 1.2, 1.3 rem. Then a font weight of bold. All right, that does the job. So Nothing else is left. I think the only thing left is that I can see the box shadow is a bit small, and also we have very sharp edges on the card. So we can come here and say border radius of 5 pixels. And then let's go to this get beautiful CSS box shadows, and then I think this looks nice. Let's copy this, and then let's go and replace the box shadow here. And then now let's come back, and now you can see our card pops up, and it's very nice. This is the card you can use on your food website selling, and then you can go ahead and add these functionalities. All right, and then I can see these are too close to each other, so I can just go to where I was working with the button, and then I did display flex, but I did not give them a gap of maybe 3 pixels. All right, and that looks nice. That's it, guys. That's how you can create such a card. And these are just building blocks for building a full website. It's very, very simple to build a full website, because if you are building a food selling website, now this card can be reused to all the cards of the you want, and then you can go ahead and add the testimonials, all those stuffs, and we will be talking about those in the next tutorials. Thank you for watching. Make sure you like, follow, and share with your friends. Thank you.